I'm Greg with Power Pole. I just want to show you what our trolling motor is capable of. We just want to give you the confidence that you know if you get in, you can get out with our trolling motor. Pulling this big 20-foot skeeter boat, going through the cattails, the matted up mother-in-law tongues. Our trolling motor runs on just about everything but dry ground. Most trolling motors wrap it all up around the hub, which stops them. Ours doesn't stop. Nothing's wrapped around the prop. That's amazing there.
Introducing
It is confirmed this is ABT Live number 47, and you probably did the first 5 or 6 seasons of AFC, and I did the first 10. And it's still going in some sort of shape or form there, but not like the old days when we had helicopters and Angry hanging out the window, and it was 25 of us on the road playing pranks.
Imagine what drone you could have bought for what it was for 2 hours on a helicopter back in the day.
1 hour, $1,650.
Yeah, so
1 hour of airtime, so she was expensive.
It's amazing, but there were some great memories from there. I think the first night of the first road trip was the best one of all, but it was great times, travelling around with heaps of people who loved fishing when we were in teams, and then when it expanded to Barra as well, having 3 on a team, it was awesome times, and I think really established tournament fishing in Australia to the mass public.
Yeah, look, there's a bit of argument nowadays in tournament fishing. What do anglers want? We give away boats, other guys give away trips, other tournaments give away money. Back in the day, the biggest ever pull for AFC was getting on the show.
That's exactly right, and that's what people wanted, because if you're doing it to win money and make a career in Australia, well, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Well, although in the first few years of AFC, I actually paid the anglers. I reckon I paid you all about $4,000 a head to come fishing for 2.5 weeks and go on an epic road trip. So those days are well behind us.
Yeah, but we used to drink a lot of beer too, so we didn't come home with $4,000.
No, true. You used to spend a lot of it on the road. So road trips that went from literally Brisbane to Melbourne.
Yep.
And everywhere in between. Anyway, we're not here to talk about AFC tonight. We're here to talk about what's going on. We've got the double header coming up, which are the final 2 rounds of the Daiwa BREAM Series, in a place where we both sort of grew up every school holidays, northern New South Wales, and it's the rivers either side of where we learned to fish in the Brunswick River. One's on the Richmond River, that's the Atomic round, and then we have the Rapala Crush City round at the Tweed River to the north. So, if you're sitting somewhere like at New Brighton, for instance, half an hour one way to the Tweed, half an hour the other way to the Richmond, and it's being held in the middle of winter, which is typically when the biggest bream are around these joints. And I've heard that the rivers have been fishing pretty well.
Yeah, they had a comp down at the Tweed on the weekend. I think it was a bit over 3.5 kilo won it. So
3.7 something, yeah, which is insane, because in the old, even 10 to 15 years ago, when you were fishing ABT,
yep,
if you had a 2 kilo bag in the Tweed, you were like, I'm the man.
No, that's good, and I think there was like 5 or 6 bags over 3 kilo, which shows it's fishing good. Don't know why. I think like a lot of that deep technique is still the same as what we used to do back in the day, but the fisheries may be less netting around the place, and that the fish are getting a bit bigger.
Do you reckon they're less netting, or do you reckon in winter maybe some of the bigger fish come in from the headlands and from outside and maybe escape the nets for a little bit? Because 100% the Tweed used to be up to legal size, 90% of your catch, over legal size 10%. And when I say over legal size, like 25 and 27 forkers were your kickers.
But the good thing about the Tweed as well is that you've got so much river to fish. Like, they're still the resident old big fish that, I wouldn't be surprised if someone spot hopped and had a lot of the secret spots. They knew where there were deep snags and rock bars that could go up and pinch it. But more than likely, most of the top 10 will come out the front.
Yeah, down below the start, down the front. Now, the Richmond River is one we fished a little bit less in ABT. I think Tristan Taylor might have won that the last time we went down there. And again, this time of year, lower river is probably where it's going to be sort of, where it's going to be won. But who knows? What I do know is when you put a lot of boats, and currently we've got 51 for the Ballina one and 45 for the Tweed River. Like, maybe so many boats on the top will slow down the bite, and maybe it's better to have fewer fish which are less pressured. So maybe up the river is going to be better. Who knows? We won't know till the day happens. What we're going to talk about tonight, we'll start off talking about the Bream Angler of the Year. So I'll talk mainly about this because all you've done is have a quick look at this thing and just say, yeah, that looks all right. So we've had one event since our last ABT live show. Nicole might have a screen here to put up of the boaters. Let's start with the boaters because that's on the top of my list. And it's juggled around a bit. It's got really interesting up the top. So in the boater division, Mark Crompton's leading with 480 out of a possible 500 points. His worst result is a 93, which is an 8th place. Okay, so we go down one to Mark Healy. He's 478 points, only 2 points behind Mark Crompton. But his worst is an 84. That's a 17th place that he would have got at Hawkesbury River. Very out of character for him because he won the Hawkesbury the year before. So he has got the potential to pick up 16 points and put a real lead on the rest of us. And when I say the rest of us, I'm coming in third at the moment, 475 points. So 5 points between the top three. My worst is an 11th, which is 90 points, which was at the Blackwood River only a few weeks ago. So a lot can happen there. There's other guys that are up there, like guys like Joey Gardner. If he wins the two events over East, he can definitely win AOY. So mathematically, there's still some other guys who are in it. But it's good to see Angler of the Year race, which is still open. And it's going to come down to the last day of the last tournament on the Tweed there to see how it goes. Now, let's swap to the non-boaters. It's a little bit more cut and dried in the nonnies. And I'm not saying that Scotty Cicluna's got it won, but he's going pretty good there. He's got a 99, a 98, a 96, a 96, and an 83, and he's 472 points. He's 20 points, nearly 20 points clear of Jono Fitzgibbon, who's won an event this year and had a second, but it's all about how good your fourth and fifth events are. So Scotty Cicluna can ditch an 83-point event and pick up 17 more points and technically get right up to nearly the 490s, which is that's Stewie Walker that's the Stewie Walker category up there. So again, it's not impossible for someone else to do it, but Scotty Cicluna, don't stub your toe, mate. You should be right across the finish line if you don't choke it. So that's what's happening in the Bream Angler of the Year. And as we always say, what's the prize for Bream Angler of the Year? You've won it. It's a trophy, and it's one that a lot of guys like having on the mantelpiece. Another bit of a note is that the Zerek Barra Tour and the Venom Rods Barra Australian Open, the entries are open for that now. We've had some coming in. I've got about 11 boats entered already for the Open on Lake Awonga, and I've got 17 boats already entered for the tour. So remember, the Barra Tour events this year, the entries are going to be capped. Like, we had high 40s teams last year, and how long did it take to get the boats out at Faust?
I think it finished at 12 and we got out about 2.
Yep, so it takes a couple of hours. So that's about the limit of, I reckon, people's patience when it comes to putting a lot of boats in on a skinny, long ramp at midnight. So
when you're tired and emotional.
So we've never had 50 boats since like the mid-2000s, but this year we have a few draw cards for the tour again. Like Gussie's coming back because Gussie, the Canadian, is dead set addicted.
Yep.
And I still think he's coasting on some of his Bassmaster Classic winning funds of $300,000 US, so he's funding himself back over here this year. But also, who's coming across? We got
Young Carlos.
He's coming back, and he wants to show Gussie that he's the best barra fisherman in the joint. Even though I reckon Gussie's got the runs on the board and the hours now, he's been putting in the homework.
And I reckon there'll be the barra competition, and then there'll be the competition on that boat. I used to fish a lot of team events with Carl, and usually would win that competition between him and me because he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, as far as you can remember, you were the best angler in the two. That's awesome. So, well, bad luck, Carl. You've got 5 seconds to respond, and no. And should we let everyone know who's sniffing around, maybe wanting to come on the Barra Tour?
Yeah, well, we're in talking at the moment with Jacob Wheeler, who's the hammer over there in the MLF series. So fingers crossed we can pull a few strings and get him out, and he'll have a handicap of fishing with me if he does come out. But it's great to see how Gussie love coming out here and seeing these fish. Like fishing similar sort of tackle and that to their fishing for largemouth bass, and then hooking a barra, you just see the smile on their face, and 3 years in a row he's addicted.
That's right, and of course Jacob is a Rapala Crush City guy, and he's been winning lots and lots and lots of money on the Crush City bait. So they're a little bit different, some of the ones in the US than over here, but they're all very designed specifically for the species.
And that's the success of Crush City around the world, I think it is Jacob was very instrumental in designing all the US ones, where there's ones for Australia, Mick, myself, the guys at Rapala Australia, we designed them from the ground up to suit our conditions. So they're very niche product for every market around the world, and they're succeeding everywhere.
Awesome. Another thing, it's the last two qualifiers of the Daiwa BREAM Series. If anyone watches my Tackle Fridays videos, you'll know that I've got a big pile of these now. These are the new Daiwa TD Black MQs. The monocoque body ones, they hit a few weeks ago before I went to Japan, and I'll be running those all through the last events of this year and through the grand finals and into next year. So I think these hit the tackle store shelves this week at around that just under $300 price point. I still haven't got around to spooling these, but 100% they're going to be spooled by the time I get down to do those two New South Wales events. So I've got a whole lot of, I think I've got 10 of the 2000 size and 5 of that 2500 size. They're both available in that shallow spool, which is what I think the Bream guys want, whether you're using braid and leader or just straight through fluorocarbon. They're going to do the job for us, but those should be available in your local Daiwa stockist right now. So we saw the wall of them in the Tackle Fridays, and that is on the to-do list. Another thing happening tonight that you'll probably see that there's a Mercury Avatar sitting in the back here. This is the new one for the back of my boat, which arrived today. It's the 35E, which is the one, if you watch my video on YouTube on it, I got the Allocraft 4.5 metre P-Series punt up to 17 kilometres an hour on Hins. And it had a range, I think, of just over 10 kilometres, but if you back it down to like 9 kilometres an hour, you can go around Hins about 93 times. Like, it's funny, the electric motors, they polarise people on the internet. They're like, oh, I'm never going to get an electric motor. And it's like, well, I'll see you paddling your boat around Hins there, Tiger, because you can't have any propulsion apart from that. But Timmy, you've used electric motors a lot, and these Avatars are the same. If you drive them at wide open throttle, they go real fast, but they draw the current really quickly. You only just have to back off about 20 or 30%, and your range doubles and triples when you suck down on it.
It does. When I was at Minn Kota, we did a lot of testing on this and how much amp draw it while you're going, and yeah, definitely 100%. Go quick, but you suck it dry. Down to like 75%, you
go all day.
Over double.
Yep.
Well over double.
Yep.
And that last, you're only losing like maybe 10 or 15% of speed, but you're doubling your run time.
That's right. So it's cool. Like, everyone wants to go fast in a Bass Electric event, of course, but 50% of the speed for this is still about 8 kilometres an hour, which I think is faster than the boat went with my old electric on it anyway. So,
100%.
Yeah. So I think it went about maybe 8 kilometres an hour, the e-propulsion that I had on the back there. So anyway, looking forward to get this sucker all rigged up. And just quietly, if you're fishing the Bass Electric series next year, I know ABT doesn't run anymore, the guys from the Bluefin team run it, my boat will be available to borrow to one person each time. Once you borrow it once, you can't have it again. We want to share the love of getting that thing on the water and getting your experience on what you think going twice as fast as your mates is like in a Bass Electric event. So I think there'll be a bit of demand for that. Guys that want to get up the back of Wyre or a bit of a way up the Clarence or Richmond River and away from the rest of the crowd might enjoy a bigger range at higher speed.
Can you borrow it a month before and pre-fish?
Sure, just talk me up. My job is to get this thing out and in people's hands to experience the Avatar. And look, not high risk. How much damage can you do at 17 k's an hour? Not as much as you can do at 100 k's an hour, I reckon.
That's exactly right.
That's not a challenge, by the way. So yeah, that's what the Avatar is doing in the back there. So later in the show, we're going to have Brad from Bluefin Boats in, and he's going to draw out the prize boat. So I don't actually know exactly how much it's worth, but it'll be well into the teens and thousands of dollars. It's got the Mercury Avatar 7.5E on the back. boat, motor, trailer, and all you had to do was participate in the Bass Electric Series this year, the Mercury Avatar Bass Electric Series, and you got a name in the draw. So I know a lot of the Bass Electric guys have reached out and said, for God's sake, don't let Matty Taylor win it. He won a couple of events. He won
everything.
He won everything. He won the 16 grand in the SIPS thing when he caught a tag bass.
If I was putting money on someone, it'd be him to win.
100% his name's going to come out there. It's like when you're on a roll, you're on a roll, aren't you? So that's going to happen later on in the show. Brad's just he's tied up at the moment, but he is on his way. That draw will happen on this ABT live. So that's some of the admin we had to get out of the road. Welcome to the show, and Timmy, you're going to talk about. Are we going to run an ad first, or are we going to get Timmy's talking about Trophy Hunter straight away? I want the producer to have some input here. Let's run an ad. We're going to come back and talk about Rapala Trophy Hunters. So, Timmy, have you got a jingle for it? Da-da-da-da-da, Trophy Hunters.
Nah, and that definitely wouldn't be it if we did have one.
When I got addicted to fishing, it was when I was reading old Fishing World magazines back when I was a young lad, maybe not even a teenager, and at that time there was a set of awards called the Torture Awards, and if you're an old bugger watching this, you'll probably remember it. You would get an embroidered badge for catching a certain trophy length fish on torture line. Well, it hasn't happened for many a decade, but the concept is back in Rapala Trophy Hunters. Timmy, tell me exactly what's going on with this pile of badges you got here.
Well, I'm old, and I didn't even remember that. So we thought we'd done it, but then once we released it, you said, oh, that's been done before.
Advice. Everything in fishing's been done before, but you're doing it now, which is important. So.
Well, we got the lunchroom out the back here in the Rapala office, and we don't often talk sense around it, but over a while, we were toying around with a few ideas and finally came up with, everyone fishes the tournaments. They love getting their badges. They display them. You put your big pile of badges you've got for the year on. So we were talking about how we could reward people for catching impressive fish on Rapala lures.
While they're social fishing.
While they're socially fishing or fishing with your mates or doing whatever. So what we came up with was the Rapala Trophy Hunters. It's basically an app you can download on your Android or your iPhone.
Yep.
What it does is there's 17 different species of fish you can target. So for the brim, it's a 40 centimetre brim on one of the brim badges here. So Steve can hold that up too. So if you catch a brim over 40 centimetres on a Rapala lure, download the app, enter it into the app with a photo of you holding the fish with the Rapala lure and the fish on a brag mat. We'll send you out one of these badges. So it's been great, and if you can go onto the app and you can see who's been catching, what sort of fish, where they've been catching them, but more importantly, what lures they've been catching them on. So,
what that lure is
a Crush City Creeper. So for the brim ones, that's definitely been the standout for the brim guys is the Crush City Creeper. We've had over 40 centimetre fish caught on the suspect, the jerk, and the imposter as well. But the Creeper's definitely been the go-to bait for that. But it allows people to join the Rapala community, celebrate the fish they've caught on Rapala lures, and if you want to go out and catch a trophy barramundi or a brim, you can go and have a look at what lures the guys have been catching and go buy yourself one and hopefully be able to go out and get one of these badges.
I think it's. I think you remember that it's not only when you're social fishing, it's when you're tournament fishing, it's whenever you catch a fish on a Rapala lure that exceeds that amount. Put it in the app, and if you're an ABT guy, you'll already know how to use the app because it's exactly the same backhand as gets used in the ABT Tournament Series app. The guys at InfoFish made you this app, so 100%, if you know how to use the ABT app, you're going to know how to use that app there. So a great way to value add. Even, you're down the Tweed, you're all going to get some Crush City baits anyway. Yep. Put one on, catch a 40 in the Tweed. Tip, 40 tip.
You could do it.
Might happen. I've got a 40 in the Tweed before.
Yep.
Just.
But also with the 17 species categories, the biggest of each of the species for the year will actually win a couple of $100 prize pack that we'll send out to them.
Yep.
And the overall winner, so we've got a leaderboard there with the more badges. So whoever gets the most badges by the end of the year will get a couple of grand prize pack.
Awesome.
So
how many badges is leading at the moment?
I think it's one of our staff. Matt's got 5 in there, but we're not eligible, so they'll all be gone
forget
anyway.
anyone who's a Rapala
So
staff member.
I think there's Nelson Phillips up in Bundaberg. I'm pretty sure he's got a bass, a barra, and a trevally so far.
3. So that's very achievable to catch him.
Yes, it's been really good actually. And if you look following our socials, you see every Friday we're putting a post up with the guys who've got got the badges for that week. So
I think it's great, and I think I love the fact that you submit your fish on the brag mat to show that the fish is the length, but then you got to put the photo in of the fish with the lure that you caught it on, and so that you can see, no more secrets. I caught him a secret lure. You can't do that. You don't get no badge if you're secret. So I think it's really good that if other people are confident on a particular Rapala lure, you can learn from their confidence and go and use that bait to catch fish in your own area. And it synchronises really well with Crush City, which you've been crushing it with, haven't you? Like, you've got most of the styles back in stock now, is it?
We've got everything back in stock now from the year one, and we may be having a few other things landing, which I suppose you're all going to have to wait till after to see, but we've got some pretty exciting stuff coming this year as well.
So that's awesome. That's it's been a very successful launch. I do remember last year at the Crush City round, the non-boater champ Pete Clark won mainly using a bait that he pulled out of his sample pack.
The little suspect, which I normally don't throw little paddle tails, but we were fishing near you that time and he's throwing it.
He was whacking.
I thought, I'm just going to try one of these suspects and caught a heap as well.
I tried them on the second day as well. Hey, you never know what they catch until you throw them. So remember, the Rapala Trophy Hunters cost you nothing to enter.
Yep.
You've got to download the free app, and the only thing you need to do is maybe buy a Rapala lure if you haven't already got some.
Yep, that's right. But this is open to all ages, this one. But I can't let too much out of the bag. But all the young fishermen out there will have something pretty special coming for you guys around the start of August with the Trophy Hunters as well. So watch this space because I think the kids are the future of the industry and fishing, and we're going to do something pretty cool for them as well.
Oh, really? So you're going to give a subtle hint like it's happening in August and it's for kids? Okay. Subtle.
Yeah,
Real subtle.
No, it'll be pretty cool.
That's cool. The Trophy Hunters, I think you can follow all the results again on the app as well. So just on the app, you can check in each day and see how people are going per state and per species.
And it's got the gallery there, so you've got the photo, so you can see the people with the fish and stuff like that as well. So, but more importantly, I think we had one today come in. It was a 90-centimetre tailor from WA on one of the Explode poppers.
Yep.
So it's really good. Seeing some of our big stick baits. I think it was 1.6 metre Spanish mackerel. So it's great seeing people going out there using our product, fishing, catching some really memorable fish of a lifetime, and us being able to make it a little bit more special for them.
That's great. All right, so we're about to go to a break, but yes, we do have a competition tonight to celebrate the atomic round of the BREAM Series coming up. I've got some atomic stuff here. Got a couple of hats, got a couple of spools of the atomic lines braid, and I've got 4 of the atomic Vibe 60s right here. You know how to enter it. Just let us know where you're watching from. It's no more complicated than that. Whack that in the comments on either YouTube or Facebook. And by the end of the night, someone's going to get that gear mailed to them. I lie. It'll probably be tomorrow morning.
Yep. And
Australia Post will have it to you in probably only about 3 weeks' time. This will all be yours. So let's drop to an ad, and when we come back, I'm talking to Mick Starkey and his marketing man, Dominic Wiseman. We caught them at the Evans Head Fishing Classic about the Ballina round, the atomic round. It's happening real soon. So nobody can accuse Atomic of not being involved in tournament fishing in Australia. You're going to fish our Barra series later on in the year, Michael. You're running your own tournament there, and you're naming sponsor of the Richmond River round on your home river of the BREAM Series, mate. You got 10 fingers, and they're all in the pies, aren't they?
We try to share the love a bit, and we've always been the company and always been massive supporters of the anglers that use our gear, and a lot of our gear is targeted toward tournament fishing. So there's no better way to return to anglers than help support the events that they actually attend.
Michael, introduce to us who's standing next to you. We're not going to say he's the brains behind the operation, but he's definitely the muscle.
He assists in a slight way, let's say. we have Dom here. Dom is the marketing manager of Frogley's Offshore, and he's the one that decides how much and who gets what. So he's the man that's deciding what you guys are having for all these rounds and tournaments and that sort of stuff.
Well, we really appreciate your support for the Richmond River event this year. And one thing we always know is when we come to your part of the town, like I know there is probably a petition to rename it from Ballina to Starkeyville, but, we are coming to Ballina to run the Richmond River round. And at the right time of the year. No one can ever accuse you of not looking after competitors when they come to our events. And we were just talking before we started recording about some of the bonus things that you do in the events. You did it before when we had the bass event up in the Richmond River. But what have you got in plan for guys in this iteration of the BREAM event, which has over 50 boats fishing it?
So for this event, we've organised, we're going to do pizzas first and foremost at the briefing for everybody.
Yep.
We've also got our tank, or not our tank, our trailer display will be coming along, and that's going to have a display of a huge range of products, particularly some new products that are coming later this year.
Yep.
And something else I've forgotten already.
We've got lures for every angler.
Lures,
You're
that's
telling me
it.
about that one.
I was telling you. So every angler will get something. If they come down to the trailer, Damo will be there, and he will give every angler an item.
A present.
A couple. We've got to go a bit nicer than that. Yeah, they'll get a couple of things off us for every angler that turns up to and does the does the event.
So wait a sec, you've just outbidded yourselves. Dom was up for one item and Michael
One item.
Well, sometimes these marketing guys are a bit of tight asses, so we have to give a bit of a loose leash every now and again.
I get the budget, and then he just extends the budget as we get closer to the event. That's how it works.
Look, it was a great event. Last year you sponsored the Tweed River event, another river which is just up the road from your home base down at Ballina there. And I love that event because it was a sponsor karma thing. I was throwing that Atomic 38 deep hards on the final day and caught a great bag to win the event. And sponsor karma is a thing in ABT. The lures that you guys make, whether they're the Vibes, the hard bodies, the top water, they're all going to play in the Richmond River. Michael, I want you to tell me what would be your top 3 Atomic baits that guys are going to need fishing this midwinter event in the Richmond.
Well, a lot of the fish are down lower. I live on the water in Ballina, Richmond. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of big bream hanging around the mouths at the moment down the bottom, and even in the canals that they're not big, so they're going to get smashed after this. But I've got a lot of big bream right now under my jetty in Ballina. When I throw out a bit of food, they come out, and it's pretty nuts. So going to be kind of a bit of a down end river bite, I'd say, which means the Vibes really come into and play. Those Atomic metals are amazing down that bottom. Personally, I still like the Crank 38 deep. That's your go-to to kick it off, and you find it's really the searching lure. You can travel so much area and find that fish, and then you can figure out where to hammer them.
Yep.
And those, down that bottom mouth. And I think we'll give a Crank 38 deep to everyone to kick them off, because everyone needs one of those to be able to fish these sort of river systems. So why not give every angler one of those to kick off as well as something else?
That's fantastic. And I'm pretty sure your Seekers jig heads are going to play a lot as well, guys. Maybe using some slightly heavier weights than they normally use to get the lures down in the current. I know there's like a maze of creeks and walls down the bottom there. And typically I think that the guys have got to fish light line because it's clear water down that end of the river usually. And tackle manufacturers love that, because if you're using some of that new 3-pound Alliance fluorocarbon you're going to lose a lot of this stuff, mate. That's what guys are good at.
That's what it is. You catch more fish, you do lose more, but I wish we could come out with some 1-pound stuff, but definitely I'll throw some zip baits of 1 pound, but it's pretty good. I got to say, I'd fish light. You do lose more. That's just life. Unfortunately, Taylor are part of life in winter and all that sort of stuff. But you do catch more fish. Everyone knows that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. But yes, definitely the Seekers. We've got stock of every Seekers now. We've got in stock. So that's a big change. The brim hole down near the water slide, off the water slide there, has been fishing right well. And it's got a real defined drop now after the floods a couple of years ago. It's, if you sound that up on that pre-fish with your live scope stuff, you'll see really clear structure there now.
Yes, that's awesome. Now, something else you've got happening is you've got some new rods coming out. You were hinting to me earlier in the year that you've got some of the new Samurai stuff coming out. Is that what you've got in your hands, or sort of out of shot there?
Yes, I do have. We're just releasing it. We're going to display these at as well.
We should take a couple up there.
Yeah, we might be Australian. Yeah. This is well, actually, we've snuck a couple of previews in, but this is actually the first public release where they've seen the rod.
The first one.
So we've taken the whole carbon grips and reactions to the next level. So we'll hold that up there.
Yep.
And you can see we've started gone to the full carbon butt section. Dom's got all the technical.
And it's not a blend, it's a carbon butt, and it's been actually tested to 27 kilos, I think, on these models.
Yep. Yeah, so one of the problems when we had designing these rods, especially with the carbon integrated butt sections to make them lighter, is a lot of people using a composite material because it's quite expensive to do these tapered butts and paint them and all that sort of stuff. So they're making them out of composite. We decided to go 100%. Obviously, it did cost a little bit more of the rod, but it makes it lighter and it's much stronger. So each of these butt sections on every single reaction has been tested. The lightest one was like 27. They go to like 42 or something for the big heavy ones. But basically, you're never going to break a butt on one of these things. It's always going to be that's the strongest part of the rod. So, but the biggest thing here you'll see is not only we've gone to the carbon butts, which is a cool thing to go for, is we're using the new Fuji TCH reel seats, which are a titanium carbon reel seat. So the first on the market. And these are actually the first production rod in the world. Once again, we've been able to do it with these titanium carbon hybrid reel seats. So that whole butt section is about 25% lighter. So out of the whole rod overall, we've improved the blanks, changed the guides to the T2 color titanium. The rods are actually another, I think, about 15% lighter overall, and they're already insanely light. So these things are absolutely smick. And when you see them in real life, which we'll have at on the display trailer at this event, you'll just feel them. They're absolutely amazing. And one of the best thing of it is we've decided to, the US dollar dropped a little bit, but the yen's gone up and just a bit of recosting. We've actually decided to recost this stuff, and I haven't been using my boat as much, so I probably don't need to spend as much on fuel. So we've actually dropped the price. So we've actually dropped these down to, I think they're $5.99 or something now, I think, for retail for one of these. So when these comes out, we've dropped them by $100 and put a higher quality reel seats on them and high quality blanket and everything through them. So it is a pretty big, pretty exciting release. It's probably one of the biggest releases we've done in Samurai.
I think so, yeah.
And it's really jumped over the years. Samurai's always, when we release a new one, especially the reaction, jumped over the top of the market and become the flagship. We haven't done that for a few years due to COVID because we had production problems, and we've only just started to come out of that from Samurai at the moment. So we thought now's the time if we're going to come out of it, let's release something above the market again. And I think this is the winner. These are definitely jumped the market.
Tell us then, so when people are going to pick these up, they're at the briefing, they're going to pick up this rod. How much are they going to snap their doodle right off with how light it is? Like how light is it? Is it the lightest in the market, or what's going on with it?
Well, the lightest we've ever made.
Yeah.
Yep. So when we're light, like you can get some of these rods, I think they're under 100 grams.
Yep. So they're going to pick it up and in the hand feel the difference between this and what they're probably currently using.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Even to current reactions, aren't they? These are just.
But it's also the sensitivity of it, because you've got all of this carbon down the bottom end of it.
Yeah.
It really stiffens up that section of the rod, and you're going to feel more vibration through that than any previous model that we've had before.
So you've been a fan, Steve, over the years of getting that sensitivity, because I do notice, and I've seen you use a lot of skeleton reel seats.
Yes.
While we're using the infinites to be able to feel that blank, to be able to feel those bites a bit better.
Yes.
So
you want to have that solid reel seat, so there's no EVA or nothing spongy in between your hand. Yes. Yeah,
so that's what this is, and we've actually done it with the proper reel set this time instead of the skeleton. And because it's a full carbon with titanium hood, it's super strong, and you get that feeling, unlike the other reel seats that graphite and stuff that just don't, they naturally bend a bit more compared to a carbon. So by moving to the reel seat, it just has, like, the whole rod is just amazing.
Yeah, no, I think the guys are going to definitely be excited by those when we do the briefing outside Brett Hyde's shop there at Ballina. There, we're going to take over the car park with 100 people there in the evening. It's going to be a real show. Michael, does your display trailer have some sort of fantastic big TV above it, or is
it actually does? We'll show you. It's not on the moment because we're early in the morning. We're here, but it's got another 2-meter TV above it that we'll be putting videos and displaying on.
Awesome. So we can cause accidents on the highway.
we may have done a few things like that in the past. We've got another 4-meter TV over here that's on the side at the moment as well. So if anyone wants to hire some LED TVs, I know someone that's got a few.
And one final thing, mate. Again, appreciate your support for this event, but the Evans Head Classic that you're working on at the moment, it's set to be a great finish to that. The weather's coming good, and you've got all the bad weather out of the road. How's that looking?
Yeah, well, there's some good weather this week, but you should see the brim that are coming in from Ballina and here. Like, seriously, guys, like we've had, I think there's quite a few over 40 to the tip.
There's 42 to the tip in the tank.
Yeah, there's currently. A 44 last night. Yeah. So there's some big brim coming. So it's good to see. Some flathead are a bit smaller than usual, I've got to say, but the brim have been solid as, and a couple of them have come out of Ballina too. So good to see that coming up, and
should fish well.
Yeah, and don't forget, guys, we talked about it a while ago, but we're getting very close now that the entire new zip baits are about to land in Australia in the next couple of months.
So we've got Camsons, we've got Rigays, we've got skinny pops for surface fishing. They're all in that brim sort of market, and they will be here later this year.
They will be here in the next couple of months, but the beauty is we're going to display them at the event.
Yes.
So this will be the first time for all you guys to be able to see before or after the entire range of the new cams and the reggaes, all that sort of cool stuff that's coming in, all the new colours as well.
We'll try and replace the reggaes before the event. They got lifted last night.
We've had a couple kids.
Sticky-fingered child.
Nice. Hey, I know that the Camson, that tiny junior one it's like the standard for people who want to detune them and crankbait pontoons and boats at the moment. Are you getting a big demand from shops and from anglers to get those things back in stock?
Yes. So to give you an idea, the previous guy was selling about 10,000 a year.
Yep.
My initial order is 65,000.
Wow. So there are going to be plenty of them in your local tackle store. So don't be scared of using those because you're going to be able to replace them when you lose them.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. And that's why I can't use my boat because I can't afford it because I'm bringing those in.
65,000 baits, mate. It's a big order, mate. Appreciate both of you guys taking the time out of your busy schedule at the Evans Head Classic this morning to do it. I'm looking forward to coming down, seeing you guys at the event. It's going to be a great weekend. Go and work hard at the tournament now, mate. If it's not talking about tournaments, it's running them. Go and do what you do.
That's it. So I just want to say good luck to everyone at Ballina. Use our pre-stuff because I think there's some bonuses too we're doing for using some of our product or stickers and hats. Or Nicole will go through that briefing, but we're definitely doing more stuff that Dom's organised. Keeps telling me he's giving away more stuff, and then I just keep adding to that. And good luck down there, guys. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be at Ballina, which is a real pity. I bought the boat to be able to do these events, and both Richmond and the Bass and the Brim I'm actually away for. This finishes on Friday. I actually fly to America on Saturday, and I'm away for the week for that event for ICAR. So I apologise for that, everyone, but I would have normally been there and had a cracking time on Ballina River because it is a fun place to fish, and it is fishing quite well for Brimmer at the moment.
Awesome, guys. Appreciate your input. We'll let you know how it goes when we get back.
Great, guys. Thanks a lot. Good luck, everyone.
I'll be your beast of burden, an ally in enemy territory, a friend in unfriendly situations. Less than ideal? That's my idea of a good time. Overgrown, nasty, unforgiving, stumps, roots, rocks, angry winds, and mean currents. Throw me in and watch me swim. Mother Nature may be tough. I'm tougher. Lean in, roll up your sleeves, push through to the spots where you can really prove your mettle. Because discomfort isn't a deal breaker. It's just a hurdle between you and hooking in. I'm the kind of motor that'll take you places where chaos is the cost of entry, where the fish are worth the fight. where grit and guts beat glitz and glamour. If you ask me, the bigger the question marks, the better the quest.
Have you worked out a jingle for Trophy Hunters yet?
No.
No. Can't even get him to sing on the show. Crush City BREAM event on the Tweed, Timmy. Tweed is pretty famous in ABT for a lot of reasons, but one of the records that you might not know about is that the Tweed River holds the record for the most average number of fish caught per angler, and it was a tournament about at least 12 or 14 years ago. It was over 9.2 out of 10 for the entire field. So boaters and non-boaters both having 5 fish bags, and in that average, there was one guy who was late. I don't know who it was. It might have been our lister, or someone was like so their bag was a write-off. Someone had 6 fish in their bag, so that bag was a write-off. It was actually really closer to 9.5 out of 10. I remember we had 53 boats in that event, and 50th had a 5 fish limit.
That would have been a good fun weigh-in for the weighmaster, wouldn't it?
No, how'd you be? You'd be driving back down. Oh, you're weighing 100 bags of fish anyway. But you're driving back down the river. You go, I got a limit. At least I'm not going to be coming last. It's like, nah, you nearly were last, mate, with a 1.5 kilo limit of fish. So that's one record that's at the Tweed. The other thing that this event's going to be, I think it's going to be like the biggest Tweed event we've nearly ever had. I reckon we've been approaching 50 boats in some of them. When we were there in 2022, we only had 28 boats there, just post-COVID. Currently, we have 45 boats entered, and there's still a few people, I think, like Mick Horn, is he in it?
Yep, he's
in.
Yep.
There was a couple that I think were still coming in, so we could scare that 50 mark as well, which will make it an incredibly successful Northern New South Wales tour. And great to have Crush City there, like a year after you've launched it nearly, back there again. And like Michael does in the Atomic Rounds, Rapala, I don't know if it's a competition thing, but you're looking after the anglers as well, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it worked well last year. Look at Pete Clark, eh? So yeah, all anglers, when you come in and register with Nicole on the Monday, I think it is.
Yep.
A midweek event, which will be great on the Tweed as well. You'll get a sorted pack of Crush City, which is one of each of the Year 1 shapes that we did. And then we'll also have an assortment of the other styles that we do that are relevant for BREAM.
And take us through them.
So we'll start off with the creeper. So as we talked in the Trophy Hunter app before, most of the big BREAM over 40 centimetres in that app have been caught on the Crush City creeper. So everyone's got a single tail grub. One of my favourite things, I think it was on one of Starkey's Atomics that I won the grand final down at Foster in 04 or something, was on a single tail grub. We've taken that grub and we've made it better with the extra little legs on the bottom of it, heaps of action, and the BREAM can't help themselves. Stepping up then to the 3.75 inch jerk. Love fishing this one with a hidden weight system in it around structure, or if you want to fish deep water, because it's so thin in profile, it'll sink really quickly. So not a lot of resistance, darts around a lot, and those deep BREAM, especially at the mouth of the Tweed, will love that. From there we step to, I think, Peter Clark's favourite lure from last year, which is the Suspect. So a little 2.75 inch paddle tail, very small profile, small paddle tail, really finesse sort of bait, and again, really good for that deeper water. So not a lot of drag in the water, and you can fish that down deep. And probably one of the most successful lure we had in our release last year was the Imposter. So a 3-inch prawn imitation, but with that super TPE material, heaps of movement in it, really lifelike. 3 inches long, so when you catch a fish on that, it's usually a little bit bigger fish. So we'll have an assortment of colours of those packs in all good BREAM catching colours. So definitely, the sponsor's Karma. Come and grab a couple of packs off us, and hopefully you can win like Pete did.
And if you want your choice of colours, get to the briefing early.
That's right.
The early bird will get the word. If you're one of these guys that turns up at 5 minutes to the briefing time, you're going to have what is assumed is going to be probably the worst colours, which are probably still all right, but...
Well, look, I'd like to think there are no bad colours. We've got a pretty tight colour range, and I'm only going to bring down the popular colours like your motor oils, your pearl watermelons, your natural purple haze in the Imposters and stuff. So you won't miss out. But if you want the pick, get there early.
So single tail grubs, the creepers on a jig head, no worries at all. Suspects, I learned from Pete Clark, on a jig head, straight, no worries at all. The longer jerk, Mick Horn rigged me up some jig heads last year with stingers on the back. He uses them with a stinger. Give us all Mick Horn's secrets, because Mick's won an event on the Tweed before on plastics.
No, he just ties it, uses a little bit of braid, ties up, super glues it up, but just has a little inline single hook hanging out the back, just maybe an inch back from the main hook. And, you know, especially in that deep bite, finicky bite, I remember back in the day at the Tweed, like when the fish were smaller than they are at the moment that they're getting there, like those finesse bites, when you're fishing a comp, you want to have that stinger there because, you know, so many times you'll get that short striking it. If it hits that stinger, you can lip hook it and get it in the boat.
It in there. And look, if you really want to know how Mick Horn fishes his jerks, because Mick's at the gun at it, go to last year's highlights on YouTube from the Gold Coast event, because there were several fish in a row where you can see Mickey's got this sort of little lift and sort of Parkinson sort of shake, and that tail really gets wibbling on the thing. And he helped design it, so he knows how to fish it, and that's how he fishes it. So I reckon to go and watch those highlights and take some notes.
And actually, Mel, his partner, who probably catches more and bigger fish than you, Mick, just got a trophy hunter badge for a 41 centimetre brim from the jumping pin area the jerk.
Has Mick got a brim badge for trophy hunters yet?
Not yet.
There you go. That's how it is. The Tweed again. It's, as you said earlier. It fishes all the way from Mawillimbar and above, all the way down to the mouth. Although this time of year, it's pretty popular down in those lower reaches anywhere from like the highway bridge down to the mouth. So, so your money as to what weight you're going to need maybe each day to win it. Remember, it's not a teams tournament like they had on the weekend. It's everyone fishing for their own fish. What would you be... You're not fishing it, but if you were fishing each day, what would you want to put in the box to be up there?
Oh, I think after... Like, you're going to have 3 kilos a day, I think will be the winning weight, because there was... although there's going to be more pressure, but the good thing is you're running it on a Tuesday, Wednesday. And the school holidays are over, so it should be pretty quiet on the water as well.
I reckon 2.6 a day. I reckon, because it's always... Everyone says it's fishing amazing, and it's like it's fishing sort of amazing by the time we get to the comp. So, 2.6 a day, I reckon, in the bag will get you some nice folding.
So, you know, you set your expectations low, so then you're happy.
Yeah. Of course. Hey, nothing like winning the pre-fish and going in with the strut and then getting a donut on the first day of the tournament. We've all done it. It's it was funny when we used to run the pro-ups where you could put some extra money at the briefing if you wanted to fish for some extra prize money. People would always put the pro-up in if they had a good pre-fish. But man, how many times have you had an awesome pre-fish that has just turned to shit in the tournament?
Yeah, but things change, and sometimes bad pre-fish means good comp.
100%. I've won tournaments where I've caught literally one fish in the pre-fish, and that gave you the clue that you built on during the tournament to get it done. So awesome. Thank you very much for sponsoring this event, Timmy. It's Crush City's been a real success. Both bream, bass. You know, maybe down the track if you make some barra baits, we'll catch some barra on them.
Yep.
You know.
Hey, Pre-Fish Princess last year, Teamborough Dam, 122 barra. Just saying, don't care. It wasn't in the comp. It was on.
That's right. So, no, that's great. What we're going to do is, I know that a lot of the Bass Electric guys are waiting on here. We have had Brad from Bluefins turned up. In this box, I don't know if you can hear that, there's about 160 entries. We're going to run an ad or two, and when you come back by the magic of television, Brad will be sitting here, and we're going to get on board with a draw. So, thank you very much for co-hosting tonight, Timmy, but you can get the hell out of here now. Let's go to an ad. I'm going to see you soon. Going to give away a boat. Boom and magic, there it is. Brad Ritchie from Bluefin and Alloycraft. Welcome to ABT Live. I know you watch it sometimes when you're not in the studio, but you only live down the road, don't you?
Yeah,
so
mate.
it's easy for you to drop in.
Yep. Only a few minutes down the road. Just come back from footy training, so
So footy
mate.
training, are you the coach or you a player?
coach.
No, you're a bit too. You're like me. You're too old to do the playing bit now.
Knees are too busted, mate.
Very cool. We have got, I assume, a lot of Bass Electric Series guys watching now because they've all got an entry in here. But before we get into the draw stuff, well done for you and your team for picking up the Bass Electric Series this year. And it was a bit of a collaboration last year, but this year ABT just went, nah, we punted it all to you guys. Make what you like of it, and look, I think you guys have done a fantastic job. How do you think your team's gone in running a series for the first time?
Mate, they've been pretty fantastic, to be honest. Lots of learnings, but at the end of the day, when we look back at what we wanted to achieve, I think we ticked all the boxes. So
Yep.
It's only going to get bigger and better from here.
I think there's a lot to be said for, last year it was sort of ABT owned it, but you guys were helping run it. Now it's like yours. It's like there's more of that sense of ownership, I think. It's a human nature. It's like, oh, no, we want to look after this, we want to grow it, because they're investing in themselves, really, because it seems like the Bass Electric Series has a pretty bright future.
Yeah, particularly, there's been some great numbers at the events.
Yep.
We ran five rounds this year. And really can't complain. Richmond was probably a bit of a washout, but the rest of the rounds very well attended.
Yep.
And some big fish caught.
Well, and you know what? If you count Matty Taylor's stocked impoundment permit money in that, the payouts were sensational. $16,000 at one venue. That's plus what else.
Plus what he won.
Yeah. And let's just sort of summarise the series. Your Angler of the Year, the Wilson's Angler of the Year, was Matty Taylor.
Matty Taylor, yeah.
Who's sort of dabbled, I think, in some ABT stuff before, but he put his head down and had a real shot at the electrics this year and won a couple of events, won the AOY. I had a lot of people mention to me at the lure show on the weekend, it's like, oh, Matty Taylor better not win this thing, but he's got 5 entries in there, and when you're on a roll, it is not rigged. There are 5 entries for Matty in there, and again, we've got them in the Daiwa TD Black MQ box here, and we're gonna draw that soon. But
no one flicked me enough cash to take them out.
No, that's right. And what's enough? I don't know. Just start handing it over. And when I say enough's enough, then enough's enough. Tell us the machinations of it. What did the Bass Electric guys have to do to get an entry into this box?
So quite simply, they just had to enter a round. So for every round, they got a ticket, juniors included.
Yep.
So some guys will have 1 ticket, other guys will have all 5.
Yeah, and it's very possible that a junior will win this boat. Their chances are equal to an adult.
Absolutely. Yeah, didn't even have to catch a fish. It's all random.
Nicole, if you've got some cutaway to run across this, let's talk a little bit about the boat. It's the Alloycraft, I assume it's the P395, which is the one that we've given away for many years as a Bass Electric boat, on a trailer, on one of the Oceanic trailers by Dave.
Yep.
The Mercury Avator 7.5E on the back, which is the fully encapsulated all-in-one, battery slides in, very easy to use, very easy to attach Mercury motor.
Yep.
And you've actually had that boat on the water doing some of this filming, and a couple of your, I think last year's prize motor is on the water as well. Greg Rigby might have been running that for
there's
a
a couple of avatars in the series now. So and there's about half a dozen P395. So they're staying within the series, which is awesome.
That's great. Now next year, you reckon anyone's going to catch this? I've got that 4.5 metre Alloycraft there. This little baby's going on at 17 k's an hour with an empty boat. Anyone going to catch that thing?
Oh, I think there's someone with a Torpedo in the series, which but I don't think it's going to go anywhere close to the new Mercury. So
yeah, oh well, it'll be interesting to see, because if we had it together early enough this year, I was happy to lend it out to people this year, but I'm happy to lend it out to people next year. I'm setting that up on that 4.5 metre Alloycraft. It'll have my Garmin Force from my bass boat on it. It'll have a live scope on it. It'll have a Lowrance 12 live on it to do. It's got all the gear. It's got all the hand-me-downs from my boat on it. So it's going to be a pretty flash rig. So I've decided that people can borrow, but you can only borrow it once.
yeah.
So sorry, Bo Everly, you can't borrow at every event of the tour. You're going to have to go get your own. So no, it'll be good to share the joy there, and people can experience. Like, I love the beam of that boat. Like that, it's about a foot wider than the 395.
Yeah, about 300 mil. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a big fishing platform. It's nearly got as much fishable area as my Bass Cat.
Yeah.
So that's all happening next year. How about we get stuck into it? Actually, no, I've got one thing to do first. let's do the atomic prize for the where you're from. Nicole's given me a winner for that. That's Jeff Lonnie from Brighton in Queensland. You commented on Facebook. Jeff Lonnie, I don't know if you're a relative of Chris Lonnie or not, but if you are, that's a winning family because Chris wins everything. And Jeff, reach out to us on Facebook, send us a message with your address, and I will send that atomic gear out to you. So, sorry, Jeff, you didn't win a boat, mate. You won some lures and a couple of hats and some line. There's your... Oh, I'm not even going to show you what's up. I'm going to hold this up and you can draw it out. 160 entries in here. And the first one out, there's no
runners up.
No runners up. It's just going to be whoever's name comes out of here wins them. What's the boat worth?
I think with that Avatar and the trailer, 11, 12 grand.
11, 12 grand worth the boat?
Yeah.
Okay, let's give it away.
Here we go. Just going to make sure I only get one.
And then hand it to me. I'll read it out for you.
Here we go. There's one.
All right, this is the one. Who's won a $12,000 boat? Jeez, I might need my glasses. The winner of the boat is...
Oh, wow.
What's oh wow, man? I don't think I know. Rodney Sinclair. Rodney, are you sitting at home at the moment just going, yes, I've won a boat? I reckon he might be. I hope he's watching.
He was just talking to me when we were at Wyaralong about how he wants one.
How he wants one?
Yeah.
Rodney Sinclair, where's he from? Queensland or New South Wales?
Queensland, I think.
Queensland. Rodney Sinclair, you have won yourself a boat. I think a round of applause from everyone in the studio there. Nicole, even the producer, she's on it. I was really excited then. I was a little bit nervous when it came out. It's like someone's won themselves a boat. We've given away probably 40 boats in ABT over the years, but it's always really exciting to see someone win a craft. So, well done. The series was great. The coverage was great. Corey did a great job as tournament director for that. And look, it wasn't perfect, but no one is perfect straight away. And I think it's a great improvement and something that the electric guys are going to have a lot of excitement building and growing over the years. So and especially Rod Sinclair, I reckon you might get 5 entries from him this year. Eh?
You might be at every round.
You're expected to be there, Rodney. What boats Rodney currently got?
I have no idea.
Okay, no, I can answer that. A Mercury Avatar powered alloy craft P395. There you go, Rodney. You've got his details. Obviously, you're going to reach out to him in due course. If we were really organised, we would have rung him on the phone and had him live on the show as he was excited. But that was a stretch too far for us.
Hopefully, he's watching and put a comment.
Yeah. Put a comment if you're there, Rodney. Like lots of capital letters and exclamation marks and vegetable emojis. But how excited you are. I think that's it, Nicole. We're going to. You're typing something. Are you looking for someone in the comments?
I was just checking if he was in our database.
To see if he's he's not in the ABT database. All right. Rodney Sinclair's got a boat. Bad luck to all the rest of you. You would have had a great time in the series. Thank you very much for coming in tonight, mate. We've got the job done. Watch out for that thing next year. You're going to see probably this side of that Avatar next year, the back side of it, as it's taking off away from you. And we will see you probably in another month's time for episode 48 of ABT Live. Catch you then.